Hello, witchy people. It's a cold, wet, and windy day outside today, and I know because I've been out in it, which is why I look like this and why I'm dressed like this. I didn't go out like this. I've not long been home. Come home, hubby's made me a lovely cup of coffee, much needed cup of coffee. I've got all my wet and muddy clothes off and put my dressing gown on to keep nice and warm, try and dry off a bit because I've been to the New Forest. And not actually far from Burley. I do love Burley. But we went there to walk the dog, and I thought whilst I was there I would take the opportunity to do a bit of foraging. So I took a bag. It was quite a big bag. And picked up a few things because obviously I like to gather my own, I'm not going to call them herbs or flora and fauna. I'm going to say that it's magical ingredients. I like to gather my own magical ingredients, dry them out. I also like to gather a lot of wood to make my own wands. A lot of the wood is gathered from my own garden or is naturally coppiced from the local area. And this wood that I got today has all been just scattered around, picked up. And what I tend to do is, so that I remember, is I only gather one type of wood each time I go out. So last time I went out, it was, I think I gathered, it was hazelwood, because the hazelwood ones are in my shop. And then it was, the next one I went out was hawthorn. I gathered some hawthorn, quite nice sturdy bits of hawthorn. So that'll be the next one to go on. They're drying out and seasoning. And this I picked up today is cypress, not cypress, feral pine. I'll sort that out. Anyway, I'm going to change the camera angle and show you some of the stuff that I've got. And, you know, you might be interested, you might not, but I thought it'd be a nice thing to share, to show you the kind of thing that, you know, is fun to go and find in the forest. So I'm going to change the camera angle and then show you what I got. Okay, so I'm just putting on my gloves because, as I said, it was a bit rainy and muddy outside. And got my plastic bag here for some of the smaller items. The first thing I'm going to show you is, this was a branch that was on the ground. Now, a lot of people always ask what's the difference between a fir tree or a pine tree or a spruce tree. And the easiest way to tell the difference is, and the way I was taught, if the needles are coming out one from a branch, then you know definitely it's either a spruce or a fir. This isn't, as you can see, the needles are growing in groups of 2 from the branch. I can show you, I'll try and show you. You can see here, so they're growing in groups of 2 out from the branch. Therefore, this is a pine tree. Okay, and because this is in a group of 2 needles, if the needles are growing in groups of 2, then it's a red pine. Groups of 3, I think it's a yellow pine. I can't remember. Most of the trees that I know are red pine anyway. So yeah, if it grows in groups of 2 needles from the twig or from the branch, it's a pine, and it's a red pine. Now, if these were singly, and I will quickly explain this, if these were coming out singly from the branch and these were, now see, these are quite flat, okay, if they were going out singly, it would be a spruce or a fir. The needles come individually out from the branches. Spruce needles are pointed, so a bit like this. They are very pointed, and they're quite square almost. So if you take the needle and roll it in between your fingers, it will roll because they're sort of a square shaped. Fir tree needles tend to be flat, like this one. This one is a flat needle, so you can't roll it in your hand. It's very difficult to roll. And they're also softer. They're quite softer. So although this has got fir tree like needles, it is a pine because they're growing two out from, they're not growing individually out from the branch. So that's the difference. And this is one that I picked up, and as you can see, I've got a couple of tiny little pine cones growing there. And I think as well, when we were younger, we always used to say that pine cones are pointed and fir cones are round and fat. That's the easiest definition to make between a fir cone and a pine cone. So I'm trying not to do a lecture on this. It is just, this is what I got at the New Forest today. So there we go. And these bits here, the actual small branches, I picked up quite a few of these. I thought I could dry them out and use the needles. So that'd be quite good, or even dry them out. Some of them have got longer branches and use them almost like an altar besom, something like that. So what else have I got? This is some of the pine branches that I got, and they're all pretty, as you can see, they're very wet and they are muddy. Picked up a few. And some of them do still have a bit of bark on. Like I said, I've gathered just a few pieces of everything really, and it also has some people call it lichen, some people call it lichen on there, and when that's dried off I will take that off because I save that as well and use that separately. Bits of bark there. Okay, what else have we got? Beautiful piece. Now this was actually one big piece of bark that was round a tree trunk. Oh, woodlice. Made me jump. Come on, poor little woodlice, up you come. Sorry about that. Had to save the woodlice. And yeah, now I'm pretty sure this might be some kind of honey fungus, because you can see I've got all kinds of little animals and bits and pieces now on my desk. Not to worry, as long as there are no spiders, I'll be okay. So quite a few of these little pine branches, pine, yes, pine, and some of them have got some really lovely little cones on them. I'm terrified there's going to be a spider in here now. Oh yeah, there's a spider sac there. So I will carefully remove that and put it outside in my garden near my leander. Because obviously I don't want to harm anything if I can help it. So there's even a bit of resin here. So as you can see, because this is actually just coming straight out of the bag as I'm doing it, this may take a little while. I mean, isn't that just beautiful? There is definitely something about bark, whether it's pine or you know, any kind of sort of, get the light on it. It is so lovely. And like I said, there is a fair old amount of it in here. I'm just going over, making sure there's no nothing sort of living that I'm going to kill, hopefully. like I said, there is quite a bit of the bark, and like I say, one of it came from just one whole small tree trunk that was there, and it was just wrapped around the tree trunk. So, and I also found a nice piece of the tree trunk, just, and it is a bit rotten, but that's actually heather flowers there, I can see. So yeah, there was this lovely piece of tree trunk that was just lying there. Now, a friend of my husband's, he actually works with him, he takes dried wood and he injects it with resin to harden it. I don't think I'll be doing that, but I will be drying this out. Lots more pine bits and pieces. You can see lots of bark. And like I said, I do save the bark because the bark is as important in a lot of magical workings as any other part of the tree, whether it be the cones, the bark, the wood, the needles. They're all important. Okay, and I found this piece of bark which has this beautiful lichen on it. And this is, oh, I did used to know quite a lot. I know it's a green shield type, but it's the type that comes up, bugle. I think it's called green bugle, this particular one. And that, when it's dry, will all be taken off and once again used. Some heather. More bark and some moss there. My camera stopped working, but luckily I picked up on it, so this is all I've taken out so far. A little bit more of the bark and a twig with some pine cones on there. As you can see, like I said, pine cones are more pointed. Lots more of this, another pine stick. This is all heather, and then here is some really nice examples of some lichen or lichen, however you want to call it. And like I said, that will all be dried and used. More heather. And it's just so amazing. I love all this stuff. Don't like the creeper crawlies so much, but it's not like they can really hurt me, is it? So there is quite a lot more in here, and there are a lot of pine cones. And once again, as you see, pine cones tend to be pointed, and fir cones are tend to be bigger and fatter, but obviously that depends on the tree as well. But we were always taught that pine cones, pointy pine cones and flat fir cones, that's an easy way to remember. Oh, there's a little bit of stone that I found. There was all of this stone, and it was so pretty. It's beautiful red colour stones which are in here. But that's about it. The rest is much more of just the same, really. So there's some really nice examples, really nice samples here of just the same bits over and over again. And like I said, I will be using this. This will all be dried. All the bark and such like will be dried, and all the wood will be dried out and seasoned, and that will be made into wands. So there we go. That is my trip to the forest. I hope it hasn't bored you too much. And like I said, there's quite a bit more in there yet. More bark. Quite a lot more bark, as you can see. See, this bit's quite rotten with moss and lichen on it. And there is a lot more, there's even a few more sticks there, a lot more pine cones and needles and heather. So there we go. That's it. There's a little bit more of this as well. I picked up some more of the lichen here, lichen lichen. So there we go. And hopefully this will all, in the next few months, be dried out and in my Etsy store. So thanks for watching, people. Hope I didn't bore you too much. Bye for now, witchy people. Just finished unpacking the bag. Thought I'd give you a quick peek. As you can see, I've got quite a lot of this lichen here. Heather. These are the pine cones, and a little bit more of that, and loads more over here. But there you go. I thought I'd just show you the rest of it unpacked, and a few more sticks that I have got over the other side of the room, and my little collection of red stones here at the bottom, just down here. Okay, that's it. Sorry about that. Being boring again. Bye bye, witchy people.